Parshas Vayechi, Tovshin Pei Gimel. When discussing the topic of going to work, there are many people that they struggle with the concept that they are obligated to do, let's call it mundane tasks. That means that they can't be sitting and just singing to the Rebbeinu Shalom and learning and davening, and some maids or whatever should take care of all physical gashmis dige. In Yiddish they would say Narishkeiten, foolishness and Sachen. They don't want to be busy with all that because of many reasons. But one of the reasons is because they see it as a drop in their darg and their madrega of avodas Hashem. If they have to get into the office and talk to people and be on the computer and all that, if they developed a feeling to Torah, to Tefillah, a true feeling, you're talking about people that be'emes, they enjoy being close to the Rebbeinu Shalom, they don't want to be busy with such things. Now, this struggle, this challenge, is for men and women equally. It has just different ways how it expresses itself. That means if you have men, then it's going out to work and being in the street and whatever it is with people, money issues, and then you have women that if they developed a feeling to kirva to the Rebbeinu Shalom, saying Tillim and davening, and they, let's say, we'll say for an example, learned in seminary, and everything was about steiging and learning and understanding. Some people were built like that they be'emes have the tools, the mindset to be able to enjoy learning, and then they were given a different tafkid, and they have little children, and they're busy cleaning and cooking and diapering all day and all night, and there's no time to be connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. So this is like a famous topic, but here when we're learning Chavis Alvavis, we're discussing it from a bit of a different angle. That it's the same for everybody. That the question is, what does the Rebbeinu Shalom want, and how does a person not lose their deep feeling of connection to the Rebbeinu Shalom, even though they have to do all the tasks that the Rebbeinu Shalom put them into that situation. Because before we get deeper into the Shir, the Rebbeinu Shalom didn't want that we should just say, listen, this is called avodas Hashem, this is what the Rebbeinu Shalom set up for me, so I'm fine. It's not accurate, that means it's true. And it could be a chizik for people to know to do the right thing. This is what I have to do right now. But it's not allowed to be as an answer or a teretz, more like. That means that a person should, because of that, lose their sensitivity to that close relationship with the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's not true.
If a person puts into the gezerah the distance from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's the mistake. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted me to be distant.
That's not true. That's it, and it's something that it needs to be explained. Because if it wouldn't be true at all, it would be very simple to say the Eibusha doesn't want it or does want it. But here, it's not like that. It means, on the one hand, the Rebbeinu Shalom did want we should be distant, and to a certain extent to dive into this world, and we should be in a world that's full of such tafkidim, tasks that a person has to do and be busy with. That's mitzad echad, which will create a situation that a person is distant from the Rebbeinu Shalom to a certain extent, and in the same time, the Yesoid that the Tzaddikim and the Torah tells us is that 24 hours a person is really supposed to be not only serving the Rebbeinu Shalom, just even in the feelings. That means a person is supposed to be able to be elevated, and he feels that it's Ke'ilu in a certain sense. Ke'ilu he will be in Besmedish and he would be learning. So it's a conflict. It's a steer. It's something that it's very hard for people to understand because, and there's a very strong reason behind it, why it's so hard for us to accept it, to comprehend the concept. It should go deep into chap that it doesn't contradict. The reason for that is because this physical world screams 24 hours that the two sides of this world contradict. Or you're eating and enjoying and going out and whatever it is, or you say time out, you say, oh, today I want to be holy. Now is my Yom HaChuppah. Now I'm going to enjoy connecting, and I'm going to say Tehillim, and I'm going to sing to Hashem, and then I think I'm done. I did it for today, and I'm going to go into this world. If a person doesn't put a massive effort to try to understand how, in Yiddish, in Lashon Kodesh, in Yeshiva world, you would say to be miyashav the stira. If you're not going to try to reconcile the conflict, you're not going to try to understand 1 second what's going on there. How is it possible that when I leave the Beis Medrash, not only do I believe that I'm serving the Rebbeinu Shalom when I'm going to work, not enough. We have to chop it first. Then comes the steps of actually knowing how to do it. First, we have to understand the concept that Rebbeinu Shalom wanted us to go out to work, and whatever it is, everybody with their task that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave them to work with sometimes things that are so not geschmack, and so it brings down the person. And not only it's called Avodas Hashem, it's even, I'm expected even to be able to hold on to the Rebbeinu Shalom while I'm doing it, and I should be doing it, and I don't feel that I can't go down afterwards, because I'm like, whoa, back in, I'm a yo-yo. No, I was serving the Rebbeinu Shalom, and that's what I was supposed to be doing, and I was talking to the Rebbeinu Shalom while I was doing it. He should give me siyata d'shmaya, and I was hoping that I'm doing what's right, and I held on the whole time, and now I'm back. That's what the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted. Now this is the tachlis why the person came down to this world. This is a constant struggle. This is not something that's like we'll just learn it and then it just works. We have to every day work on it. It should be like that, because it goes all the way into eating habits and whatever it is. It's like anything that a person does in the physical world, a person could turn over that it should be ruchnius. But let's back up. Let's back up and let's understand a question. Let's understand something. Why did Rebbeinu Shalom create a person in such a conflict? That means we understand that Rebbeinu Shalom wants us to be in this world. Aleph, have emunah, believe in the Rebbeinu Shalom. We should be fine yidden. That means we should follow what it says in the Torah. We need to learn, we need to give tzedakah, we need to daven. We should be doing what we're supposed to. But why did it include? Why did Rebbeinu Shalom create something much deeper than that a person is expected to dive in and go to work, and the Rebbeinu Shalom knows what it means to go to work, everything included, and anything that the Rebbeinu Shalom is expecting is like to daven and learn, and then to go into the physical world and serve Him there, even though it's sometimes feels almost impossible to stay, to hold on and to be ehrlich and to do what you're supposed to under such circumstances. So in order to get a deeper understanding to this sugya, to this topic, it's important to understand something. Reb Shimshon Pincus used to say this mashal. I think we discussed it in the English shiurim. I don't remember when, but it's once again important for this shiur that if you would ask someone what's a better vehicle, that means what serves a better purpose, if someone has a tractor-trailer truck or a motorcycle.
Depends.
It depends. What does it depend on? That means like this. There's pros and cons. Right? The pros and cons. Now, a motorcycle has the ability, it has the geschmack, has the pros of not getting stuck in traffic, of being able to go through the simtaot, the alleyways of Yerushalayim or whatever it is. You could turn in, you could turn out, you could come. Hatzalah members could save lives if they have these motorcycles. They could drive on the sidewalk, and and whatever. There's many. It doesn't cost that much to buy. Whatever. But then again, there is this little in the back. You could put in your lunch, but it doesn't get much further than that. You can move apartments with your motorcycle, and once again, a tractor trailer. You could load whatever your whole apartment. I mean, you could put in whatever it is in a tractor trailer. So when a person has to have this decision, what he should invest in, or what he wants to drive, or even if a person has both, but what he to drive today to his destination that he's looking to go, the answer is going to be that he has to choose. You can't have, even if a person is going to drive both, he'll have someone, but you can be in the same exact moment both. So the Reb Shimshon Pincus used to try to explain this concept, that we have to understand something. When we learn Amunah and Bitochen, when we learn this concept, one of the big yisodos that we're always busy reviewing again and again is that when you need a Yeshua, the Rebbeinu Shalom is a kol yochel. He could do anything. He could bring you Yeshua from left field that you didn't even dream. The money that you're looking for, the Eibusher could figure out a way that even b'derech hateva you should get a few $1 million, and it wasn't even an S. Anything could happen. It's part of our Amunah, and that's what helps us rely on the Rebbeinu Shalom, because if we're relying on something that's limited, then how can we rely? Maybe he's not going to be available. Maybe he doesn't have the means. But if I'm relying on the Rebbeinu Shalom, which Rebbeinu Shalom is a kol yochel, I could always rely. And if the Rebbeinu Shalom decides differently for me, it's not because he was short. Hayad Hashem tiktzah, he couldn't deliver. But that also goes to the total other direction as well. The same concept that the Rebbeinu Shalom is a kol yochel comes from being infinite. Yeah, that means it's ein soif. It's not limited at all. So the same concept that it goes to huge and big and leloi gvul to this way. If the Rebbeinu Shalom wouldn't be able to limit Kivayochel, the Shechina, the light of the Rebbeinu Shalom wouldn't be able to reach a little boy that needs help now because he wants to win the raffle of Ovis Sabonim in his shul, and he davened. If the Rebbeinu Shalom wouldn't be able to listen to his tefillah because, listen, he's a baby. He wants to have the flashlight, I understand him, but please, if someone davens for health, I could understand. Then it means that the Rebbeinu Shalom is limited. Then it's a total misconception of the yichoros of the Rebbeinu Shalom. So the Rebbeinu Shalom be'emes, that's why he used to use this concept of motorcycle and a tractor trailer, that it goes up and down to that never finishes, which will include the concept of that the Rebbeinu Shalom could listen to a tefillah of a Bala Veira, and even if a person is down in the dumps, if you reach out to the Rebbeinu Shalom, this is never a situation that a person it's not possible for him to reach. Sometimes a person has a punishment because of the big Averis that he has to reach out from a deeper place in his heart. And he's not going to have the siyua, he won't have the help. The Rebbeinu Shalom is going to teach him and help him reach out to him. He's going to have to struggle to be able to daven. He won't have the siyata d'shmaya that the Rebbeinu Shalom is like going to bring the siddur for him because of his averis. So he has to come to Ab. But if he's going to daven, if he's going to reach out, then the Rebbeinu Shalom listens to any Akarav Hashem l'chol koirov, any situation. And the Gemara teaches us Menashe, Melech Yisrael, he did all the Averis Zoris, and he reached out to the Rebbeinu Shalom. The Rebbeinu Shalom listened to his tefillah. It's part of the broader concept that the Rebbeinu Shalom is infinite, that goes to all directions. Now, the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted that a person should understand that it's part of the Avodah Hashem of a Yid, not only to believe in the Rebbeinu Shalom, not only to believe the Rebbeinu Shalom is a kol yochel, it's supposed to become part of the Avodah Hashem of the person constantly. Not only when you're talking about the topic, or someone, he met up with a big Bala Veira and now he has to learn that topic. Every Yid, even if you're the biggest tzaddik and you're not exposed to Ra or whatever it is, if you are busy serving the Rebbeinu Shalom only in Besmedish, it's because it might be that the person understands that there's no Ribono Shel Olam. And that's a chisorn in your emunah. A person has to be able to say, what's the problem? That I was sent now to go out of town? What's the problem? That I had a shlichus to go to Manhattan? The Ribono Shel Olam is there. Now let's figure out how to connect the Ribono Shel Olam in Manhattan. Vaychi Yaakov be'eretz Mitzrayim.
Is a person supposed to put himself in a situation where he's supposed to find?
No, a person shouldn't put himself into nisyonis, which he might fall and have a mikshol. But a person has to first understand the concept. So when the Ribono Shel Olam is going to send him because of a document that he needs, and he has to go to the bank, or an office that he has to, or constantly in life, and it's not only the street, it's in the house all the time. A person is surrounded. That's the metzius of this world. It's the reality of this world that we can't live in a bubble and he's serving the Ribono Shel Olam and he doesn't come on to anything. That's what it is. Everybody. We are put into this world. So the question is why we should make that we should be surrounded with so many gashmis, the physical, mundane, all kinds of tasks that it pulls us down. One yesod that a person has to learn is that the Ribono Shel Olam wants us to think about the question and be bothered with the question and come up with an answer that, the Ribono Shel Olam is there. Here and everywhere. How does the song go? Hashem is here all over. That's a big yesod. It's not a song. It's maybe also a song. But it teaches the person that I should remember when whatever I'm doing, wherever I am, whatever the situation is, that even though it looks like that here, this is like, in this place it can be the Ribono Shel Olam is around, because you don't know what's going on here. It can be. Because if the Ribono Shel Olam sent me, it means I could serve him in this matzif. If I could serve him in this matzif, it means the surroundings around me are also the Ribono Shel Olam is running. It's like a chess game. It's the pieces on the board. The Ribono Shel Olam is putting these people and these nisyonis and wants to see. It's b'shorshai. It's all a lakus. And it teaches me that I could connect to the Ribono Shel Olam in this matzif. I could find the pneumius. If I believe in a child, just as I'm using as an example, I'm trying not to go off. But if I believe in a child, why? Because I believe that inside there's an neshama. And I could see it, I could feel it, but even though right now he's out of commission and talking not the way he's supposed to and acting not the way he's supposed to, but I know that he has an neshama. Imagine I talk to him b'chovadik, even though he's replying the opposite. And it's hard, very hard. So he's now makrin. There's a word. He's giving out, transmitting the whole atmosphere, the whole environment is because of him. It feels like there's no Hashem here. This is bad. Look how he's talking. Look how it's now, and you're fighting that. Now, why are you fighting that? Imagine a person has that Yishuv Adas, he had a good morning, he's with Simcha, he had a matana from the Ribono Shel Olam. The Ribono Shel Olam gave him matana that he's holding on, even though this is what's happening. And he believes in that neshama. And he talks to the neshama. He's not replying the same volume, no. He's screaming, he's not doing back, even though it's the teva, no. He's saying again, he's saying the concept, he's saying it again, you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that it's going to start shining, even only a little bit. It's going to come soft. It's not going to be the same darga. Why? Because it's be'emes there. It is be'emes there. Now, if you're relating to it and you're talking to it, you're building it. It's like there's the seed and you're pouring water onto that. You're going away. You didn't see it. You didn't see it grow. You're devastated. You didn't see anything grow. But it doesn't make a difference. In there, it started growing because it was there. And if you pour water, it's starting to come out, the pneumius from what was there. The same concept as anything in the Lakus. It doesn't have to be a person. When a person's in a place, in the street, how is it there? How is it in existence? It's not shaykh, it should exist if the Ribono Shel Olam doesn't constantly, again and again, be mechaya, make it be alive. Put it into existence constantly. It's not like Hashem created the world and Hashem left it. It wouldn't be here in one split second. So what's the pshat? The pshat is Sedor Rebbeinu Shalom there. For me to understand that is an avoida. It puts me to work that I have to do mitzvahs. You have to say a bracha the way I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to, and I'm supposed to be focused. Try to stay focused on doing the right thing. And then I understood something deeper about the Rebbeinu Shalom. It created that a person should now have a different hasoga in the Rebbeinu Shalom. He understands that when the Rebbeinu Shalom is kol yochel, it means the Rebbeinu Shalom could be soivel. It's the same concept that we say that the Rebbeinu, it's a pasuk in Yeshaya, Eshkoin ve'ez dako. The Rebbeinu Shalom, like the Groiskeit in the Rebbeinu Shalom, kach in v'rin sanusoi. The Rebbeinu Shalom is avi yesoyim v'dayin almonas. He reaches every person, every situation, everything that was created. The Rebbeinu Shalom is machaya. The Rebbeinu Shalom wants us to understand that. And because of that, the Rebbeinu Shalom told us, I want you to learn to daven, to do chesed, and I also want you to go around in the world, wherever the Rebbeinu Shalom sends a person, and you should have to figure out how you could find the Rebbeinu Shalom without matzav. You should be forced. And it's a life struggle because every day is chidushim. It's not like, oh, I understand the concept, okay, the streets of Manhattan, whatever it is, nah. In a certain sense, that's the easy example. In a certain sense. When you're working with people, and it's so complicated, because every day there's something new that came up. And someone is, sometimes it's challenging. It's shalom bayis, it's children, it's teenagers, it's neighbors, money situations involved. It's so many thousands and thousands of situations that a person finds himself, and he has to deal with it. Hashem made that a person should have to deal with these things. And besides the nisoyin, that stamazoi, I have to try to be an erlich yid, which that is the simple level, which is good. It's also very choshev k'shalatzmai. But when a person chaps, that's not stam that a person is given, like we use the example Tetris boards. Every few hours you get a level 9. It's so complicated. It's not only that. There's something deeper. There's something behind that. That all this is bringing to one maskona. All this is bringing that a person should be able to have exercises in so many different nisyonis. So it teaches the person the concept behind that. That pshat is that any given situation, the Rebbeinu Shalom is there. Imagine a person would be, Mustama has a name, the best in chess. Grandmaster. So you sit down, you sit across him. Now, the person that's across him is usually someone was versteht, because if not, it's not. There's nothing to it if you just stop playing, you don't know what you're doing. But you're presenting him a board. I mean, that he should. Could you figure this one out? And if it's another one and another one and another one and another one, all kinds of situations, and you can't, even the last time, you can't get him, you can't, then you understood something about that person. The Rebbeinu Shalom wants us, is giving us, that's it. A person in this world, this is what it is. It's not only so we should be able to act like a Yid is supposed to be. Then a person chaps, wow, the Rebbeinu Shalom is taka everywhere. It's not, he has a deeper understanding that it's shaykh, that such crazy matzavim should have an answer, should have solutions, which of course in this world it has no solutions. And the Rebbeinu Shalom has a mahalach, what a person is supposed to do. So he has a hasoga in the infinite, in the Rebbeinu Shalom's leloi gvul on a higher madrega. There's a yesoid that the Moranayim brings in Parshas Vayigash. The Moranayim, he discusses it in length, but it was one liner that could help the understanding for us. It says, we say it in the end of Asher Yosa, mafli la'asos. Now the Ramon Shulchan Aruch explains the Torah. They explain the taich of the words in Asher Yotzar. What does it mean? Mafli la'asos. Mafli is this. The shorish of the word is pele. I don't know how to say that one.
It translates a wonder.
Wonder. Yeah, I mean, the Rebbeinu Shalom is wonder. So the etzem system of the person, the chalulim, the kovim, there's a whole system which wonders. But the Ramah explains that mafli lasis means that the biggest wonder of the creation is that the Rebbeinu Shalom combined kosher dova ruchni b'dova gashmi. That's what the Ramah explains. That's the biggest wonder. Hashem took the neshama, the highest spot, and put it into a physical guf, which pulls the person down, which is more megushim than grass. The guf of a person is running to temptations and zachen, and the Rebbeinu Shalom put the neshama into the guf, and a person is born like that. It's the biggest wonder. That's the taich of the last two words of Asher Yotza. Now, when a person makes Asher Yotza, it's a time to chap that the guf is so, has to come on to such dvorim pchusim, like, and the neshama is so high. Yeah, it's interessante Sache. The question is, once again, so why does it need to be so extreme? Even if the Rebbeinu Shalom wants to create dvorim gashmiyim, the neshama doesn't have to be there. Every classroom has the back seat in the corner, but why do you have to put me to sit there? The Bria was given this water, this trees, gorgeous, the beauty of the Bria. And then the last part of the sixth day, the human guf was created. Now, it was the furthest from the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's the last day. The first day, things are still closer up to the Rebbeinu Shalom, the creation. But then, as the days of the Bria continue on, it's further away. The last one is the guf of the person. And the neshama, which is the Rebbeinu Shalom put into that guf. And I remember a boy, he was then struggling with Yiddishkeit, and he asked this question. We mentioned it. I can't forget the setting that it was. The boy, I saw the neshama of the boy. He was struggling with Yiddishkeit. Today this boy is sitting and learning in yeshiva. You can't imagine. But then he was mamash, too stressed. He was sitting in the corner. I was sitting with a group of boys, and he was sitting in the corner, like he wasn't sure if he wants to be part of this. And then he screamed, and he said, from back there, he said, why did Rebbeinu Shalom have to make that the Nisyana should be so hard and the success rate is so low? Wouldn't it be better off if the Rebbeinu Shalom can make it a bit easier and put so many more people into the pool of success? So many more people would be matzliach. No. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I said what I wasn't supposed to. I look where I wasn't supposed to. You're constantly, and so little. Now, it's a beautiful question, and it's one of the yisodos of Yiddishkeit. And if we mention the question, we have to remember to mention the simple answer to this is because the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't want us to be successful in the sense of being able to fill up the card or whatever. I did it. I'm done. He wants us to be able to reach out and only to be able to be successful with the Rebbeinu Shalom. And chapta without him, we won't be able to. So if it would be easier, and a person would say, Hashem would say, would you need help? He said, no thanks, I think I'm fine. If I need, I'll call you. Bye. Then the tachas of the person is not in the sky. You have to be in a struggle that you feel is not shaykh. And then when it's not shaykh, you reach out to the Rebbeinu Shalom, you're reaching out to something that's me'eva from this world. You're connecting to Ein Sof. That's what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants to give a matana to a person, to connect to something that's out of the limitations of this world. And that's why the Rebbeinu Shalom forced the person into situations where they're struggling. They have to come onto that, and then they have to reach out to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and they're relying on the Rebbeinu Shalom in a sense that they have nothing to rely on because it's overpowering the whole essence. And then they're zoichet to a shaykhas of the Rebbeinu Shalom and a bigger madrega because they reached out from that deep place because they really didn't manage. But back to our sugya, the question is, we're learning that the Rebbeinu Shalom put us into Gashmias. In our sugya, there's a deeper chelik to the answer. The deeper understanding to the answer is the Rebbeinu Shalom, and this is something different than what we just said now. It goes together. It's just saying it's another step. The Rebbeinu Shalom wants us to understand that the guf was also created by the Rebbeinu Shalom, and it's not bad at all, nothing bad. Just you're going to be able to succeed to train your guf and to turn it around to be serving the neshama and helping the neshama instead of schlepping, that means taking it towards the other direction. You know how? By that understanding that this guf was also created by the Rebbeinu Shalom, and the temptations and all the yesoidas, the atzlos that the person has, or caste, or anything that's inside the system, the shoirish of it was also from the Rebbeinu Shalom, and I have to now look into how this could be a gaba, this could be a servant for the neshama, and the more a person is going to have a munah, to understand that the guf was also coming from the same shoirish, the more a person could be able to believe the taivas are going to become less. And I'll explain how this works. When we see a child, boys, wild boy, I don't know, whatever age you want to give, he's wild, and sometimes the way to explain it, the Hagdorah, the definition to this is raw material. Give it a right name. It helps. It helps. You know what you're watching? You're observing raw material. It means he has koiches. You see that inside him is it's going on. He can't now just sit there. He can't. Now, it's nothing wrong. The opposite. You see the adult in him, but he doesn't have the tools. And that's why it's such a big struggle. Because right now he's in a setting that he can't be now the COO of a business. He's a little kid. But he wants to go around with keys and say, and you're watching now raw, when you see raw potential, not raw potential, it's messy. We got to get that into our head. Raw potential is messy because the potential is there and the setting is it can't. Now it doesn't die because of it. It also doesn't go to sleep because of it. So it's there, but it comes out in the wrong way. Most of the adults call it chutzpah. That's the name that they give it. But I'm not making litzon, but I'm saying many times we're wrong. Now that concept. When it's not the child of the person, when it's someone's own child, and it's always more sensitive, whatever. But let's say a person sitting in his air-conditioned office, he doesn't care. The child comes in, the mechanech had a good night last night, he's good. He's sitting with his coffee, and the child, so he can relate to it like that. His good day. He relates to it, and he sees raw potential, and he's giving the chizik to the child, whatever it is, to listen, you'll be big, one day you'll be like this, like that. One of the biggest machancham in today's generation says what happened to him. He says it in a public setting, he said it. It's recorded or whatever, but he says that they threw him out of yeshiva. Not only that, they didn't, when he was 20, he wasn't 14. And his friend told him, he says it in public, his friend told him that, sorry, but I cannot continue talking to you and being your friend, and because it's ruining my shidduchim. They say that I'm your friend. He told them in his face. Now the mashgiach and the yeshiva chapped him that he was imitating each person of the staff, and he was doing a job. And he told him, there's nothing doing, you're out of here. Now, a mechanech, and I happen to know the mechanech that told it to him. I know him. He was one of my mechanechim in a certain part of my life. He sat with him. It's a bit over 20 years ago, and he told him, one day you're going to be. He told him straight out, you're going to be a gewaldige mechanech, magichi. He told him the whole thing. And now you don't have the tools, the setting fit. So now let's find settings. Let's see what we could find settings. I have a gewaldige Eitze for you. You're going to learn with this boy. Your boy that's younger than you. You're so exciting, and you could explain a piece of Gemara like nobody could. And you can make the guy feel like $1 million, and you're so geschmack. He gave it to him, and that was the beginning of his Hatzlocha, and today, not shaykh. Now, if we would look at our guf and give it the same name, raw potential, you could only decide that if you chap that the guf is also b'shoshay in ruchnius, because if not, then what's the potential of the guf? The guf wants what the guf wants, and I'm obligated every day to get up in the morning and fight him. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. That's what a battle's all about. It's true, but that's why it's important to understand it deeper. That's the yesod. Of course a person is in a battle. And of course, even when we're sitting with a shir, it's so geschmack, but tomorrow morning when we get up and the guf wants another 20 minutes, it's not going to look different. It's going to be the same messy. But the Rebbeinu Shalom wants that a person should work on themselves and put this concept in their mind. 1 second. What's going on here? Let me ask myself a question. How is it possible that the guf should be a keli, a vessel, to my neshama? If they're total opposites, then it doesn't make sense. Then you don't put the neshama into a guf. Not only that, the Rebbeinu Shalom put that the tzura, that means the exact form of the guf, of the body, is the neshama, b'tzelem elikim. The eyes is because the neshama has eyes. So 1 second. It's not the bad guy, and it's this big conflict, a battle between the bad and the good, and I'm supposed to constantly give the neshama the guf wants, what the guf wants, and this is what it is. No. Ultimately, the Rebbeinu Shalom wants me to get to a understanding that the guf is going to understand to help me and will help me. And that's going to come from a emunah, what the source, who created this guf, who created this. Now, one of the mahalchim, how this happens, and the next step is, the Moranayim explains many times in his sefer, that when a person observes, they're like looking from the outside, they realize, they feel a temptation it's pulling them towards a certain taiva, whatever that is. It could be gaivel, l'moshel. He wants to feel choshev. Anything that a person feels, or they want to always win. When they argue, they watch it and they say, 1 second, why? Why do I always need to so badly have this and this? Where's it coming from? When they start realizing that the source, it's not coming from the guf. The source of it is from the neshama. And there's a good midah behind that. It's good and supposed to be used for the good. Just right now, my guf is acting like a child, and the guf is taking the shallow, the cheap version of that midah. When a person realizes that, and they say, well, 1 second, and where can I use that for the good? Where could I use that midah to the original? So how the midah comes? It comes from the kedusha. And they try to use it, not knock it. They try to use it to the good way. Slowly, the guf is going to be helping them because it's teaching them their potential. It's teaching them what's in there. The neshama doesn't know. I'm good. I learned the mishnayos. If you're good, you're like this Beinoni. I'm a good guy. I learned a little bit. No. So why is your guf so messy? It's not true. It's shechev achozov that your neshama is fine. I davened, I did my mitzvah, I put 5 cents into tzedakah, I'm good. I did my zaken. How could it be? Look at you. You're full of life. You're full of life. It's a fact. Not only life as one word, you're being pulled to so many directions. That's potential. That's massive potential. And it's coming from an emes, a place. It's not only a moshel. It's koiches, it's kishroines, it's something there. You have much more potential than the other guy. And now take the specific koiches that you have. You're a fighter, you feel you're a fighter, gewaldig. Use it for that. The midah of stubbornness. It's one of the strongest midahs that a person could use for kedusha. They could turn it around. If they decide that they're getting up early in the morning, once it gets onto we will call the blacklist, but we'll call the white list, then it's there. It's hard to get onto that list, but if you get onto that list, you're there. Culminate it, you can take midah by midah and understand it. Kumta is that the guf is telling you what you didn't know about. It's waking you up that you have a sense to heches, that there's so much more. And if you're going to dig and look for it more, then the Neshama is going to start finding it. Ask the Rebbeinu Shalom, should show you, should give you that direction, where to take this. So back to the concept that we were learning, when the Rebbeinu Shalom is putting us into a world of so much ra, let's call it. There's so much gashmias and there's so much nisyonis and averis and whatever it is. It's opportunity. If you chap, but in order to be able to understand that this could be good, you have to go back to the beginning of the shir. The Hebrews the Koil Yochel also this way. It means that the Rebbeinu Shalom could take a kedusha concept and put it into a cat. I'm saying it for example. The Rebbe could take a kedusha concept and put it into a human being that's now using it to be machshel people on Averis. Yeah, it definitely could happen. We said it over many times. The Beis Aaron says on Shabbos HaGodel this fascinating concept. He says that there was a person walking in the street, and the person saw a woman. He was going to glimpse, he was going to look, and then he said, 1 second, but the Rebbeinu Shalom is here. The Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't let. So the person remind himself, he's supposed to be a Yid. Then the person said, Va'omar HaChocham, he says, and the smart person watching that said, the Isha must be that she's a tzadekis, because through her, this person connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's what the Beis Aaron says. It's a fascinating concept. So there it says that she must be that she's a tzadekis, quote unquote. Not always the case is that she's a tzadekis. Sometimes it's the same concept, but instead of saying that she's a tzadekis, the concept is that in there's a reason why there's a kedusha in there, right now, deep, and that's why it's pulling people towards. But if it's turned around, it could help people go to the kedusha. It's a kedusha that's with layers and layers and layers, but there's something going on there. It's pulling people. Rachov, the Gemara says, who were children, Yeshua married her afterwards. In Nach and Torah, if you understand, all is coming. There's only one source. There's no other source. If there's life, if there's excitement, if there's pleasures, if there's temptations, it's now in its form in the Klippa right now. But the source that's letting it be something alive is coming from the Kedusha. If you have that concept, then a person understands why the Rebbeinu Shalom Dafka made him do and be in different situations, whatever it is, not only in the Sionis, anything that's the Gashmias, that a person should be able to use it, not only to also serve the Rebbeinu Shalom under the circumstances, just to have a new understanding on how the Rebbeinu Shalom is in every matzav, and a person could connect through those matzav and to understand these concepts. It's maybe parts of it is deep, but we meet up with the most simple situations and tasks in every day that a person is supposed to understand. That means food has something deeper to it. So the step number 1, brachos. I'm going to try to make brachos careful. So I know that I'm thanking the Rebbeinu Shalom. I realize that the Rebbeinu Shalom is there. By Victor Miller with the seeds of an apple, with the taste, he used to be able to explain it's coming from the Rebbeinu Shalom. You're realizing that the Rebbeinu Shalom is all over the place, and you could connect to a deeper understanding of the Rebbeinu Shalom from every new situation that the Rebbeinu Shalom brought to the person. He has a deeper emunah. Now, just finish off that it's a story. One of the tzaddikim was walking in Williamsburg years back. Going back 90 years ago, Mama's and there was the 1928. There was the recession. The people didn't have food, didn't have anything. Now he baked bread and whatever in his house, and he walked in the street with his wife, and they held a basket full of bread, and they would give it out to poor men. Now this person was a Hasidic tzaddik, which had a shul and whatever, and he was walking with his wife together, and someone told him he thinks it doesn't, I don't know, it's a past. And he looked at him and he said, if a person does Avedis, or a person is low, then a person is embarrassed. Then a person sees it as this is not appropriate. But if a person is so holy, then there's nothing to be embarrassed of. Maybe I'm not the exact words, but he told him such a concept. A person, and the Moyer Naim says this concept in that shtickle that we started with. That means like this: the more that a person could connect and understand, and be'emes live that way, that he could be'emes find the Rebbeinu Shlem, then the conflict wird verämpft. The Rambam, there's no conflict anymore. The conflict is when a person sees two parts of him. He doesn't know if he's bipolar or if he has a different schizophrenia, because he doesn't understand what's happening with him. Yom Kippur, he loved it. Be'emes, Chanukah, he was so, and then he finds himself in such situations. Who am I? That's the beginning stages. Okay, you're alive. There's the Guf, there's the Neshama, Shalom Aleichem. But the next, go weiter. You're not sick at all. Fakir, Shalom Aleichem to this world. But then there's the next step. The more the person could be able to start understanding that, and try to do even small steps to do it, whatever person is doing, a person that he made a bracha, he made a Sudashal mitzvah, and he got up and he said a word on the parsha, and they served, it was a bris, and then they don't see it as a conflict. He doesn't see it as a... Now, the darg of tzaddikim is that everything can be the same. That's the tachas abri. But even if not, a person is not that embarrassed because he's a mensch. He understands that there's nothing to hide here. He doesn't have the hidden black, he doesn't have that. And that is everything of a person's life. Alles. The work, the money, the earning money. People are embarrassed how much he earns. He come in and say why. One of the reasons is because he feels there's something wrong. He can't put his finger on it. So if he's a Balgaiva or whatever, he doesn't even have that sensitivity, then he's showing off. But if a person, he still has that sensitivity. I don't know. Maybe I'm charging too much. So open it up. Maybe not. Maybe there's nothing wrong. But when a person reaches the level that everything is open, then they're not embarrassed of anything. It doesn't mean they have to go tell everybody. It's see-through. The Avodas Hashem, they're 24 hours. The Chazal say that Tanoim wanted to look after their Rebbes in all situations. There's nothing to hide. Zero. That's how everything is the Rebbeinu Shalom. Shulchan Aruch has Shulchan Aruch and everything. But it's lichtig. There's nothing low. That's the word. Now, even if a person just understands the concept, they already learned a piece of Torah. It connects them to slowly do small steps and be able to understand why the Rebbeinu Shalom put them into such a conflict. Why am I? So the Rebbeinu Shalom knew that it could be a battle and a person could fall. And it's gonna be, people are gonna find out it's still worth it. It's still worth it because the end goal that a person could get to that. And that was the tachas abriya, to be able to create physical nivroim, and through that, in that matzah, to still be able to understand and be makir the Rebbeinu Shalom in those matzah. So now we got to get to work. Das ist der ganz Leben. Okay.